A big part of that is knowing how and when to hide your extra content, because more often than not, you'll be designing with a lot of content. In these cases, creating easily consumable content blocks is crucial. So a lot of times we'll get a writer or we'll get someone from the sales team or something like, hey, here's all of these, put this in a design, please. And it's so much. There's tons of words. It's too much. And if we throw them all on a page, it can be really hard to manage and can be really hard to consume for the viewer. Similar to our challenge last week, there was a lot of text. I know we've all dealt with more text, but there was a lot. So that kind of primed us for this week to kind of know how to manage a lot of text to make it consumable. Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes basic proximity and white space aren't enough because you have so much content. So trying to fill all the required content on the page while utilizing good design principles can result in the death scroll. If you've never heard of the death scroll, that's when there's a loss of interest and or orientation on a page due to excessive length and scrolling. This page. So when it's just long and long and long and long and long, it results in the death scroll. And when someone scrolls too far, they kind of lose interest, they lose orientation, and they don't know where they're at on the page. They don't know how far they have to scroll up to get to where they were looking before. It just gets too unmanageable. It's called the death scroll, and people bounce. People leave as soon as they are starting to fill the death scroll. Is there any amount of pixel height that triggers a death scroll? So that's a hard one to kind of pinpoint, because there really isn't. Some people say there are, some people there's not. Some people say there's 3 folds worth. I disagree with that. I think it really is a balance between how much you're scrolling and how consumable the content is. If you've got fewer larger blocks of content, I think that's still easy to consume. But if it's like tons of like smaller content blocks, it gets a little confusing. Apple has a lot of long ones, but they keep me engaged. Yes, we're going to look at some Apple ones in just a second. So using interactivity going along with that to avoid the death scroll is a must. It's a big thing, and it's an awesome thing that you can use as you're creating digital designs. So ways to hide your content with interactivity: pop-ups, additional pages, flip cards, use that term loosely, toggle menus, tab menus, and drop-down menus.